10 after, it's about our usual start time. So, right on. Thanks for coming. This is awesome. I see a lot of, a few new faces. A lot of past members. That's awesome. And introduce myself to you. My name is Mitch Watson, and this will be my second year of the Wagon Master. So, it's really an honor to work with you guys. Last year was awesome. It was stressful. It was good. It was learning curves, and but I came out with just an amazing adventure. And, they just keep getting better and better. So this year is all planned out. It's great. We're going to have lots of time to pay attention to our members, and that's just totally awesome. Our leadership, I want to thank all of our leadership. There's quite a few of us, but I just want to thank you for what you've done this year. I think we've come together. We're dispersing responsibilities, and we're getting pretty in tune with each other, and we're finding ourselves being able to work with the individual instead of kind of running around trying to keep things together. So again, I went around and asked to make sure you signed up, because that's pretty important. Irv loves to give things away, and he wants to give his tickets away, and I just want to get our names on the roster. So we all have our priorities. One thing I want to mention is that we wanted to kind of get our group together. We didn't want to make a board decision, and it was kind of time to start. 4 o'clock. If you have been to a few meetings, you'll know that about 4 o'clock on Saturday, on the third Saturday of the month, meetings have been starting at 4 o'clock. And that's for the last 3 years that I've been here, 3 or 4. So there's been some thoughts that there might be a change, and we'd like to open that up to the members, and for the members to make work of this. So I'm not quite sure. Put tallies on or something like that. But, we could always just start with. There's some ideas. We think 2 hours is perfect for this. Whether starting at 5 to 7, 6 to 8, or 4 to 6 like it is now. Maybe something else. I don't know. We just want to make sure that the people, our members, you, we need your input. So it'd be, maybe you guys know what the answer is. Maybe I should start off by just saying, does everybody, who likes 4 to 6? Raise your hands. Please, I need 100% attendance on this. It's looking like, I don't know, 40, 50%. So, is there anybody interested in maybe a later on deal, like say 6 to 8 in the evening? Okay, well, yeah, I'm not looking for boos, I'm looking for yays, so raise your hands, 6 to 8. Anybody interested in 6 to 8? Okay, Josiah and Dave. Well, there's 5
You got to
to
remember,
7.
I'm going to raise my hand no matter on all of them.
Oh, well, that would turn out to be, if everybody voted, it'd be 105%.
Exactly.
That'd
So I'm
break
a vote
things
for
up.
all
I
of
don't
them.
like that. So anyway, there's another one in there, 5 to 7. Thanks, Dave. Okay, Heather, 5 to 7. Oh, gee, right on.
If you can vote twice,
Yeah, okay. Well, I get the gist. Something. So, how about let's do morning, like 6 in the morning, bugle time, right? Okay, we got 1 bugle time.
People are sick.
3 to 5. 3 in the afternoon to 5. Get a couple more out of that.
Okay.
All right.
So what about like people who have yet to raise their hand?
Oh, is there? I've been trying to.
Did anybody not raise their hand?
Did anybody not raise your hand if you didn't raise your hand? 1. All right. Okay. Yeah, really. Yeah, you'll get the ejection seat if we, catch you lying.
What difference does it make to a guy like me? I can go to anything.
I get it. No, yay.
Majority rule. Yeah.
So, I think if I haven't, what I had seeing is that 4 to 6 is gonna be something to go for. Is that correct? Anybody? And usually what we do is we say, someone make a motion, 4 to 6.
Well, this isn't a board meeting. We're done. We're good to go.
Is there any reason we don't do it in the morning? I mean, I don't care, we're just looking at a 2-hour drive one way, so of course morning would be, so I'm just asking.
No, okay,
10 to 12,
that's fine.
kind of a thing?
Sure.
And have a lunch?
Why not? Let's keep this open. That's fine with me. There's somebody said 10 to 12. 10 to 12. Get out, go get your lunch, go home, whatever. Yeah, okay. All right, 4 to 6 it is. For those that are hopefully working for change, hey, rock on. So, okay. Last year was awesome. I really liked last year. We had a lot of, like I said, challenges, and it just made me go for this year too. And it, you know, we were pushed out last year by some environmental challenges which we couldn't succumb. Paul here, if you look behind, has a picture of of us being smoked out, and we were smoked out. But we had a lot of things on our side, and it was really neat. And you know, with a lot of work ahead of us, we developed a relationship with the guy that owns half the prairie that we went on. It's about a 440 square mile prairie. Half of it was owned by the Schwab Company, and the other half by Craig Woodward, who let us on his property, and not only let us ride his property, but he gave us about probably $2,000 worth of radios to use on his area. One moment. Josiah says that when we saw arrowheads on his property, we were allowed to pick those up. So you know, he was generous. He came and gave us about an hour and a half, 2-hour speech. You know, Craig Woodward gave us a lot. He gave us not only that, but he gave us his property to spend the night on in an urgency. You know, so this guy let us stay on his private property, which I remember when we were driving through to scout the place out, he said, "This is my family's place and nobody stays here." So we were gracious with that. That was awesome, worked out well. We got our sleep, we woke up, got food, and we went on a safe way. So thank you for moving last year, for those who were with us. Thank you for moving with the leadership and going through you know, an interesting time. But you know what? That's 4-H. That's 4-H wagon train. We changed that. This is 4-H wagon train. 4-H is pretty neat. 4-H is really neat. It's opportunities everywhere. But we are considered to be a different group, and that's said by Pat Willis. Pat Willis is, you know, he says, not only are we a different group in the 4-H program, we are a 4-H, you know, official 4-H program. You can see we're going to go through some 4-H processes here, but the wagon train really offers some extremely unique opportunities that some of the other 4-H programs don't have, and we're trying to grab members, new prospects into our group who really don't really understand this type of 4-H. We have some differences of like, we really don't have some of the members that do go to the regular 4-H. There's log books, if I'm not mistaken. There's things to, some recording books. There's some things that are just different in our group than the other groups. And I'll get in that with submission information. We've got, in the last couple months, we've approved to get a website that's dedicated to our group only. And of course, with anything, to develop something, it takes time and effort and people to get together. And the good thing is we have a lot of thoughts all put together. We got to get those 2 to 3 primary people. The guy that makes websites, which is an extremely important person, and this guy is would like to do this for, I don't want to say free, but for free. He's gonna help us get this thing rocking for free. We've got Sheldon, who's gonna be the webmaster for the first year. He's taken that game up and to get things rolling on that. So we don't have to put in this, gigantic website thing to get started and sort of go through. It'll all be collaborated inside this website page, and hey, I need a form. Go to the website. Hey, I'd like to know about the mission. Go to the website. Paul is recording this general meeting. Go to the website. You can read them, or watch the meeting, and be credited for it. So find out what happened at the website. So this last fall, we've had plenty of board meetings and some things in the background that have just been getting us rocking. And one of them is Leslie's working strong on our, well, I'd have to say she's done, but she just keeps going. So, but she scouted it out, but we have lots of time to now, for our leaders to work with the individuals. And we have time to sing. Yeah. Thank you. We have, our leaders have time to work with the individuals. We found that we need to be a bit more involved in the personnel. That's what we're going to do. So, okay. I have been graced by my board members to be able to sit down and let others get involved. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce Wayne Beckwith. Wayne Beckwith is Spirit, is a position in our group, and it's a very
Cool spot to be in, that's what we're gonna say. We're gonna sing a song now, okay? So sit down, Mitch, and we're gonna sing a song. So if you all got a songbook, if you turn to page 11, at the bottom, we're going to start with just an easy, simple song, but a cool song, I think. Sing Your Way Home. We're going to sing it twice. All right? Here we go. Sing your way home at the close of the day. Sing your way home, drive your troubles away. Smile every mile, for wherever you roam, it will brighten your road, it will lighten your load, if you sing your way home. Now that you know it, let's sing it. Sing your way home at the close of the day. Sing your way home, drive your troubles away. Smile every mile, for wherever you roam, it will brighten your road, it will lighten your load, if you sing your way home.
Yeah. Ooh, we're a good sounding group this year.
Yeah, we got some singers.
Alright, we're gonna do a little 4-H kind of business, since we're an official 4-H group. We do some traditional 4-H pledges, and there's something to think about, but we won't get into that right now. What I would like is for somebody who knows the Pledge of Allegiance to come up here and help lead. Somebody, I'm sure, there's gotta be somebody who knows the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, I'm hoping the youth will be involved with this.
Something to do with this class.
Okay,
Come on.
Alright, thank you.
Come join Jerry.
Hats off.
Juniors, juniors.
Please rise for the cook.
Alright.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Alright, now I need a kid. Any kid.
I'll be right there.
Any kid, please. All right, Delaney.
Just
Oh, you, come on up.
go.
All right.
Good job.
Okay, so we're gonna say these words here behind us. Mhm. So, this is the 4-H pledge. You can
It's on
think
the
about
cover of
what
the
it
handbook.
means. All right.
Where's that?
Oh,
Inside
actually,
the songbook. Delaney, get up
come
there.
You need to demonstrate. Because there's some motions to go with it. And I
First
think we need
page
to
of your
stand up
book.
For this too.
Okay. Let's all
Yeah,
stand.
stand up again.
All right, Delaney.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
demonstrating.
great.
What's your name? Sean. Sean is up here helping me. Okay, this is the 4-H pledge. Oh, drop the flag. I pledge
My head clear to thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Excellent.
Thank you, guys. That's all.
Excellent.
Now's my favorite part, death by PowerPoint. How many new first-time people, never been to a 4-H wagon train meeting do we have today? Down there, one right there. Put your hand down, you've been more times than I can count. Okay, so we're mostly veterans, but we are always looking for some new people. And you've probably been sales pitched by us at some local event or media blitz by us or something, and you went, I'll go find out what it is for myself. This is just a PowerPoint to give you a brief overview of what this trip is. It by no means really does the trip justice or credit, but we like to give you a brief overview of what we're about and what we do. So, we are a unique group and family activity that goes out on a crazy, wonderful, and extremely unique adventure. We are the only program of its kind run by 4-H in the entire country. There is no other 4-H wagon train anywhere in the United States. And while there are other wagon trains, none of them that have the focus on youth development, family, and the learning objectives that we have as a group. I'm not going to read this to you, but give you a minute to read through that. This is part of our program plan. This is what we are about and what we attempt to do each and every year. We sneak this one statement in, which I really kind of hit on. 4-H Wagon Train program is designed to extend the participants' reach by purposefully providing physically and mentally stressful outdoor experiences. We kind of sneak that one in there, but that's really what all of us live for, which is, especially me, which is finding that, but making sure that we always do so in a safe and responsible manner. Sometimes Mother Nature provides that added stress, like last year when it just set the whole forest on fire and said, here, figure this out. And other times it's provided by animals, other forest users as we refer to them, and all sorts of wonderful other events that we run across. Not every day on Wagon Train looks like this, but at some point it will. And like we all say, that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So these are our goals as a group, as an organization. Instill participants' confidence in all aspects of their life. I can tell you this, after you've done Wagon Train, There's a ton of stuff in your life that is like, easy. That's a piece of cake. I've done wagon train. To create better understanding of the needs of others, we are a group. We rely on each other as a great big group to function, to get along, and to get all of our goals accomplished, with our main goal being to get into camp safely each and every day with everybody we took out. It can be a challenge some days, but we do make it happen. And to foster cooperative group participation. That is a big thing that we're definitely focused on this year. It's always a focus of the group, but it's something we are going to come back on time and time again this year, is working on cooperative group participation. And we're out to promote personal growth, development, understanding through a variety of outdoor experiences. You will get exposed to stuff that you just never get a chance to get exposed to in a normal modern setting. You will get an opportunity to see and do things that you just don't normally get to do in your normal 9-to-5 life. Broaden and diversify an individual's outdoor experience far beyond the ordinary. After you do wagon train, very few people will have had anywhere near the same type of outdoor experience that you have had. And that's what brings some of us back year in and year out. To gain greater sensitivity, appreciation, understanding of the natural environment, we are Mother Nature's guests. When we go out into the woods, we are always very cognizant of that. And it is a tremendously humbling experience when Mother Nature dumps hail on you in the middle of July. Or sets the forest on fire, or does all the wonderful things that Mother Nature will do. And to challenge the individual by purposely providing physically and mentally stressful outdoor experiences. There it is again, along with provide means for coping with the stress. So yes, we will stress you out. Yes, we will make your life difficult, but we are here to help you survive those challenges, thrive on those challenges. And if you look around the room and see how many people keep coming back, we must be doing something right, because you keep coming back for more. So, the one thing I'd encourage you always to notice, we do try to pick mostly smiling pictures, because there are a few type pictures out there, but you will see again and again people smiling, laughing, and having a good time. It is a tremendously unique experience. These are some of the benefits of the program that we strive to achieve. We are not a traditional 4-H program. While we operate under the guidelines and the process of 4-H, we don't fit the normal mold of what a traditional 4-H program is. We are definitely directed at bringing in the whole family. Parents and children and grandparents make up quite a bit of our family units, and that is something else that is really, really unique to our program. Not a lot of programs out there encourage 3 levels of involvement of a family. We tend to reach harder to reach teens that don't fall into, and youth in general, into those traditional programs. We're kind of outside the norm, so we tend to bring in kids that wouldn't normally participate in 4-H. We do tend to increase the participation by boys in 4-H. And we provide full-term life-changing experience, enhanced cooperation in contrast to competition. We are not a competitive group, other than on family day, on layover. That's the only time we get really competitive. And then there's the Teamsters. Yeah, they're just a little bit competitive with each other, but that's a whole other thing. And we teach basic life skills in addition to human skills. Life skills are really, really important. Helping, being generous, assisting other people, taking care of yourself and taking care of others are all things that we focus on. We mainstream new participants into traditional 4-H programs. Yeah, we do that as well. We expose people to 4-H. Creates new visibility through 4-H radio, TV, newspaper, internet, Facebook, website will now feed into that as well. And we provide a viable alternative to members enrolled in traditional 4-H horse project. My son being one of those. He wouldn't normally do any 4-H horse activities after doing 1 year of it, but he does wagon training. And we teach Oregon history, outdoor skills, and about the natural environment. Education, education, education is one of our big mantras. You will learn stuff that you did not know. Last year we had a tremendous opportunity to learn from Craig Woodward, who is an active rancher, landowner, and forest manager, and to get the information about what works, what doesn't work, directly from somebody who is an active cattle rancher and forestry manager was just a tremendous opportunity. You don't get those opportunities at normal school settings. You don't get them in university settings. You don't get them pretty much anywhere else except by coming out and hanging out with us. And we also usually have tremendous guest speakers, writers, people from the Forestry Service, National BLM, and other natural resources management agencies that come out and help educate us. So real quick, a little bit of a change this year. So youth 9 years of age or older as of September 1st of the previous year, which means if you were 9 by September 1st in 2014, you are eligible to go on this year's trip. There's a little bit of a change nationally for 4-H on age designation. And then adults eligible for enrollment will become registered as 4-H leaders. So any of you new adults that are coming, you would go through the program, get registered, do a background check and all like that, so that you understand everybody in this room has been vetted by the 4-H program run through OSU, so we know everybody that is going out with us has met certain standards and expectations for them. Then roles, generally speaking, hikers are walkers, outriders on horses, mules, or donkeys, the wagons and teams, and then the support personnel. So 4 different categories that people can find a role for. Shots of the various wagon families. This is, as we go throughout the year, we will work to develop the wagon families. They're kind of set, and then we add and subtract as people come and go and change. And that is one of our organizational tools to get throughout the year and to do the trip, is you'll be organized in wagon families, and that's kind of how we manage and manipulate and get things done. Leadership structure, I'm going to kind of skip past this because we're going to come back to it later in the day. A little bit about the trip itself. Staging, you arrive ideally the night before or first thing Saturday morning, kind of getting ready to go. More and more, those of us that can are trying to get out there on Friday night. It just makes Saturday morning a little less hectic. Order of the train is we typically have scouts out on the front. They run interference. Even though we're out in the backcountry, we run across a lot of other forest users. So that has meant other hikers, ATVers, 4-wheel drive guys, people out cutting firewood, and just the general public. So the scouts are our first line of defense of interfacing with those people to let them know what's following along. Then the wagons follow. Behind the wagons are the walkers, and then finally the outriders. And all of that order of the train is set because 35 years of doing this has proven that is the safest sequence of participants to be out on the trail together should something come up. And then typically our support crew is run an alternate route so that we don't share the trail with them. So day 1, pretty typical day, breakfast by the camp cook and his crew. You gotta pack, sort your gear. We do a quick family circle every single day in the morning and in the afternoon. Family circle is where we all come together and everybody gets the information and instruction about the day, what we're doing, where we're going, and anything that we anticipate related to that going through the day. We get going on the trail. At noon or thereabouts, we will eat lunch out on the trail. We bring ice chests and we just make our sandwiches and meals out on the road. Then we get in the afternoon, we get set up, get animals situated, gear sorted, and we get our camp set up. Do dinner, an additional family circle, kind of recap things and any activities that may be going on. And if fire is allowed, we'll do campfires. And then lights out at 10 o'clock, and then night watch will kick in to take care of the animals. 2 and 3 is really a repeat as we keep on going. But we're moving every day to a new camp, so we're breaking things down, packing it up, and then moving on again.
Noon start is Saturday only?
Yes, noon start is Saturday only. We start at a much earlier time, and that time is usually trail dependent, day dependent, weather dependent. So our start times may vary from day to day as we make an analysis and an assessment of what we need to get accomplished based upon the length of the day that we've got to go, weather and environmental factors, if it's hot, if it's cool, things of that nature. Tuesday, actually it'll be Tuesday, right, Leslie?
Yes.
Tuesday will be layover day this year. Layover day is where we don't go anywhere. We stay in camp all day. It gives us an opportunity to catch up, get rested, Those of you that smell really bad, we encourage you to go clean yourself in a bucket of water. And we do camp activities, family games. We usually have additional educational components that day. This year, we'll probably do a separate outrider ride.
Yes.
So a couple different things will go on different on Layover Day. Layover Day is also an opportunity for your friends and family to come out and see what's going on, check on you, and have a little bit of time with us, share a meal with us. Like I said, clean the stinky ones. This was the year we had a demonstration where they came out, Rob Lewis came out and set a tire, a steel tire, on a wooden spoked wheel. Very unique experience. You don't see that done every day. You won't see it at Les Schwab. And then 5 and 6, we're back on the trail, kind of a repeat of the sequence of events for the first couple of days. But again, the scenery's changing. We're moving on to different camps and seeing different things. Chores are rotating. This is a hands-on experience. While we have a support crew, they don't support us in absolutely everything. We are fully functioning and autonomous. We help out with kitchen duty. We help out with cleanup, camp cleanup. There's a whole list of things that are assigned out each day, and they rotate, so you're not doing the same thing day in and day out for the entire trip. And you're luckily, if we have a big enough group, you're getting a day off here and there where you don't have to do anything because we've got enough helping hands involved. Friday, when we get back, something we want to talk about, talent show. We kind of got cut short on things last year because of the fire and the situation, so we want to start talking about that sooner. Talent show for the kids and the adults, and I think variety. We were talking was more of a variety than talent. Which would be, not much talent at times. But so that's something we want to be thinking about actually starting now. We don't want to wait till out on the trip to start planning it. So kids, start putting your ideas together now for songs and skits and other stuff. If you have a unique skill set, play the guitar, play the violin, play the bongos, any of it, even if you don't play it well, we'll still applaud you. And then Saturday, we pack up, prepare for departure, say goodbye to everybody, and head on out. So a little bit about the trip itself, breakfast, lunch, dinner. You will not starve. I guarantee that. And Jerry does a tremendous job of feeding us. And you can eat, for all of you that are maybe a little bit concerned about it, you can eat 100% guilt-free all week on the trip because I guarantee you, you will burn every last calorie you can consume. That is an absolute promise. So you can have pancakes and bacon and eggs and hash browns and toast and fresh fruit, totally guilt-free, and like 3 gallons of coffee because you'll burn it all up. We wear out the animals too, just in case you were wondering. A little bit about Night Watch. So we are a unique group. We're out there in the forest with people and animals and wagons and all this stuff. And we have processes that we follow in order to be compliant with BLM and ODF and the various agencies that we deal with and how we manage our stock in the backcountry. Everybody will get an opportunity to learn some of those processes. Part of that is Night Watch. Trying to keep the animals safe overnight. Our goal is to always have them be uneventful, but the animals tend to conspire to stop that. So that's the end of the PowerPoint. We'll move on to something else. Try to keep it brief. What's next?
Me.
Mitch is back.
Always trying to keep it brief. Actually, I focus. So the easy one is I think Travis went through most of what I was going to talk about as far as the mission. But remember, this is a 4-H group, and just to read right off, it's really simple. 4-H helps young people learn and grow through intentional process that builds confidence, connection, compassion, and character. And we value and respect human diversity of all types, and so everybody can be involved in our group. So, simply said, is we try to instill a lot of self-esteem, confidence. Is what I said on behind me.
Belonging, mastery, independence,
Generosity.
Team building.
There's a lot of sorries I said last year, you know, so belonging of the group, you know. So I just gotta tell you that I think our mission is to make sure that we all are, make sure we're a family. Families get happy with each other, angry with each other, and hopefully back to happy with each other, and angry. We're a family. Our mission is to come out safe and strong. Work hard, as Travis mentioned on the form here. And so, I mean, nobody has any other statements for the mission. That's really, Travis has went through a lot of it in this form here.
Shall we have fun?
Yes, we always have.
You
fun.
will have fun.
Fun is a mandate. We have to have fun.
Travis showed on here a lot of pictures. If you look at our gallery, there are not too many pictures with
About 90% smiles to 10%.
yeah, feet up in the air, massaging or something like that. But turns out probably 98% of our been on this we know about it. So yeah, you'll have the other, you know, couple folks that haven't been. I'm just telling you, you'll be coming next year. We're all attached, hooked strong, and you know what? There are people talking to us in regard, hey, you know, when I was 10 years old, I went through life, I'm now 35, it's time for me to get involved with my kids. And that's how that goes. We're a group that has been doing this for 35 years. Generations are coming back. So I think we're doing a good mission. So, okay. Number 6.
Let's go leadership. So stay up here.
Leadership.
So a little bit, we're gonna run through this. As we get to you, as a current leader, please come up and don't go nowhere. Stay up here. Mitch. And so I'm just gonna do a little brief overview and introduction. So Mitch.
Yes.
Mitch Watson's our wagon master.
Yep, Wagon Master.
2015. He's just glutton for punishment. He had such a tremendous time last year, he had to do it all over again. Our scout.
Where's our scout?
Come on down, Leslie. So, the scout's responsibility is to determine the route, find the place, and then work with all of the related agencies to get our permissions to get on to the ground to go do what we need to do. We're a big group. We're going to end up, hopefully, this year with, I know there's a ton of people that wanted to be here tonight that did not make it. We are shooting for at least 80 to 90 people coming this year. We're a big group with a big footprint, and that requires some regulations and permissions, and it is Leslie's job to go get that all worked out with them. And she took on the doubly difficult task, which I can attest to. We're doing a brand new route this year. We've never been here before. We have never interacted with these agencies before, so her task is twice as difficult this year because they don't have the backlog of experience that we have established with lots of other areas. So Leslie is doing hard at work on
And it's complete too. So.
that. And it's complete, yeah. Unlike some years, usually when I'm involved, where we're still stitching it together the night before. But camp boss. It's Jessica. So in a simple situation, Mitch is in charge of the wagon train. He's our leader throughout the entire year. But once we get out on the trek, Mitch is in charge when we're out on the trail, dealing with all the trail decisions, getting us from Camp A to Camp B, and so on and so forth. Once we get into camp, we're going to give Mitch a break. And so that's when the camp boss comes in. So the camp boss is who is kind of in charge and responsible for running the camp itself. Once we're in camp, getting the tent set up and chores taken care of and dealing with all of that stuff, camp boss becomes your main point of contact to deal with that type of operational stuff. She'll be interfacing with support to help make sure we've got water for the animals, that the biffies are ready to go. Biffies are our toilets. And that all of that part of the camp side of things are running smoothly. lead teamster. Wake up, Neil. So Neil McCool's our lead teamster. Neil is responsible for getting together all the wagons and teams that will come with us this year on the trip. And then he oversees them and is their main go-to guy when we're out on the trip for help and assistance and dealing with wagon issues, repairs, maintenance, things of that nature. Flat tires, flat-footed mules, stuff like that. So. Lead support, Elmer. Elmer!
34 years, by the way, on wagon train.
Yes, that's why he's head of support. He's been there, done that, been around the mountain 3 times. So Elmer oversees and coordinates all the support and the logistics, the back end stuff that makes our life a little bit easier when we're out there on the trail, making sure that we have water, that the biffies are getting emptied, that the equipment, the cook shack and all that various stuff is getting moved and into position, that we've got fuel for everything so we don't run out of propane, and fuel for the generators, and handles all that kind of coordination.
Okay.
Hay, yes. Elmer's in charge of procuring the hay for all of the livestock that we take with us. Jerry! Jerry! Jerry gets more applause and kudos than anybody here because Jerry feeds us.
He's the most important.
And once you've had meals from Jerry, you too will thank and applaud Jerry all day long. So Jerry handles also our finances. Takes care of all of our budgetary stuff for us, runs the bank account, deals with all of that, as well as being our cook, going out procuring all of our food, taking the very, very reasonable $220 that we ask from each and every one of you and stretching it into a pretty amazing series of meals when we're out there. It is not uncommon to have prime rib out on the trail. It's actually become kind of a staple. In fact, we will even brave wildfires so we can get, our big deciding factor was, we haven't had prime rib yet, he's got it ready to go, the fire can wait. We can stay. We can stay. So we're kind of, an organization run by our stomach, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Spirit! Mr. Beckwith. Wayne's job is to make you smile, or make you grimace when he plays that damn bugle in the morning. But he is there to make sure everybody's got a smile and is having a good time. This is not to be pain and torture and an unpleasant experience. You are here to have a tremendous experience and to grow and to learn new things, even if it is just silly songs. And we definitely want to make sure we double down on our commitment to Spirit this year. So we're already singing more at these general meetings. Spirit is an important component of this group and what we do, and it's what makes it more fun. Absolutely. Our paramedic could not make it today. Committed, being a paramedic at the moment, actually working, saving lives. But we travel with actually several paramedics and retired paramedics and EMTs and nurses and.
Oh, no,
What?
has that position been filled?
At the moment, it's held by Linda until she finds somebody else for it. So. But we are extremely safe when we go out. Safety is our top priority above and beyond just about everything else. When we take this many people and this many animals, things happen. Right, Jess? She had a minor horse accident, which resulted in copious amounts of blood and 11 staples.
Don't just say.
But the horse survived.
The Willis family does a good job of
Well,
keeping
okay,
it.
that was a general rule. Actually, but our paramedic managed to get run over by a wagon, so that's always how it works. But we take the resources with us to handle a small disaster of a pretty significant magnitude. And I firmly believe, though, it's our commitment to safety that means most of that gear always stays in the truck or in where it needs to be. But rest assured, should something happen, we absolutely are out there prepared. And in the last couple of years, we have found ourselves to be far better prepared than just about everybody else out there, which is a little surprising. Wake up, come back.
Yeah, that's next year.
Space.
Right. So, It's going the wrong way. Wrangler Ramrod. Oh, we don't have a Linda.
Yay!
We're missing one. We've got Donna. Linda could not be here tonight.
Busy? That's all right.
Busy today. So our Wrangler ensures the safety of all the animals and the people, and helps be the main point of contact for dealing with that stuff, kind of organizing and overseeing all of that. And then the Ramrod is essentially the second to the wagon master on the trail. Should for some reason Mitch have to leave the wagon, whether for an emergency or something else, our chain of command is such that then we would run the Ramrod up to the front, and they would become the one to lead us in to camp that day and get us out of there. Otherwise, the Ramrod's at the very back, riding drag to make sure that everybody we took with us that day makes it all the way back. We run radio communication all day long while we're out on trail, from front to back, because we can get strung out. It's not always our plan, but it happens. We can stretch out 1.5 miles between the scouts out in front running interface to the Ramrod all the way in the back riding drag. And so we run radio communication so that should an issue pop up, we can stop, call in extra resources, do whatever it is we've got to do to make that happen. Now, lastly, juniors, if you've been a junior, stand up.
Junior leaders.
Junior
Been a
leaders.
junior leader, stand up. Wake up back
Already
there.
standing.
Shane.
No, if you've been.
You've
been
been
in the
a
past,
junior
in the past,
leader.
in the past,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna go 2 tonight.
No, 3.
3?
Oh,
Oh,
She's already standing.
She's already standing.
Yeah.
I didn't see the movement. Okay, so every one of these positions here has a junior behind it that is there to learn the job and support the adult a little bit throughout the trip, but most specifically Thursday after layover day, we actually let the juniors run the day, run the whole show, and depending upon how that goes, they might even run it a day after that. So the kids get an opportunity to make the decisions about when we're going to leave and when time we're going to eat and where we're going to camp and go do all of those things. So just so you understand, as a 4-H group, we are here and we are focused on youth development, training, doing all those 4 things over there. And to do that is we are looking for junior leaders to step up and work hand in hand with the adult leadership. So there is scholarship money attached to being a junior leader. There's a little bit of paperwork to do to become a junior leader. Some have already expressed interest. As a reminder to our current junior leaders, you have to give up your job this year. We're getting everybody pushed around to a new job. Some of you have done your job for a couple years now. But so that is something else that I guess I kind of talk about a little bit right now. My job, I'm not up here on any of this stuff, is I'm overseeing all the scholarships this year. So we have scholarship money available to offset and defray the cost for kids that are going to be wanting to come on the trip if need be. One way to get some money for it is to step up and do a job. Now there's a couple of these jobs that we reserve basically if we can for experienced kids, because they have a much better time doing the job if they've actually been on the trip before. But a couple of these jobs very much can be done by novice first-time participants. Then the other scholarship we have is an essay scholarship, where if you just write us a great story as it relates to Oregon history, wagon train history, or some other stuff like that. That's one way to get a scholarship. And then we have a third, a hardship scholarship that's available as a one-time only for a financial need sort of situation. We have 10, 11-ish scholarships available, and they're a little bit on a first come, first serve. I have the packets, and if you have any questions or anything about the scholarships, come see me afterwards on a meeting, and I will get you all squared away to do this. All right? And this is the crew that's going to make you have a really good time this year.
We're not coordinated down this one.
Or else.
Neil, Elmer, where are you going? We're ready for our song. We're ready for the Wagon Wheel Quartet. Larry, you got volunteered for this too.
Oh, good
You
job,
didn't come to
Larry.
the last board meeting.
Yep. It's a white.
Yeah, we've all told you for this.
So I wasn't able to be at the board meeting, so on the agenda, I noticed there was a couple of things that I was assigned to do. That's usually what happens when you don't show up. But one of them was lead a quartet.
Yeah.
So I chose the first four numbers, first four people on the list said, you're on the quartet, let me know what you want to sing. They didn't say anything, so here you got me. One of the songs we do on Wagon Train is called Garbage, and I've dug into the archives to find some things that might work for garbage. And garbage has an explanation, it's stuff that happens on Wagon Train and we make it into rhymes and sing about it. So just to make it fun. So I'm going to give you the tune, maybe, on my flute, and then we'll sing the verse, the chorus, and then I'll pick up some verses for them. Let's start over. I've practiced for a while. So that's kind of the tune. Roll on your wagons, roll on. So let's try it.
Yep.
Roll on your wagons, roll on. Roll on your wagons, roll on. We're in this together and we leave at dawn. Roll on your wagons, roll on.
Well, for 2015, we've started Wagon Train. We've all showed up today and enjoyed the rain. If we weren't having so much fun, they might think we were insane. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. We're in this together and we leave at dawn. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Now, some people get in garbage quite often. I'm going to write, I just flipped through the page here and happened to, well, Neil was there. Son of a gun. Neil was ready for bed. It was time, he declared. But what was in store, he wasn't aware. 'Cause when he sat on his cot, it went straight in the air. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. We're in this together and we leave at dawn. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Now for my breezy mule, there isn't much she won't take. There's not a short-eared around I'd take for a trade make. But today she started out without me. I guess I didn't start to set the brake. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. We're in this together and we leave at dawn. Roll on, you wagons, roll on. So as the trek goes along, if you would like to write some of this verse, you're very welcome. Once in a while I have ghost writers. Or if you get me the material, I will put something together that will or won't rhyme, however it turns out, and try to put it in the garbage. So that's kind of the way it works, and we have a good time with it.
Okay. This is where we introduce ourselves to each other.
We don't have tickets.
Well, we Okey-dokey. Where are we going, Leslie?
That's a secret.
See?
All right, as mentioned before, I'm Leslie. I'm a scout for 2015. A couple years ago, I had an idea, And over the course of a couple years, that idea, much like anybody else that's been a scout, that idea has manifested into a reality. We are going to the northwest corner of Oregon, in the Coast Range, in the Tillamook State Forest. So this area is near and dear to me. My great-great-grandparents homesteaded near here. I worked for the Department of Forestry, patrolled this particular area. We've all hunted it. I've been on the back of a dirt bike when I was a little teeny, ridden the whole thing. So this area is very special to me, and it was my goal to share it because it is beautiful. It is very, very rugged. So we all know that the official end of the Oregon Trail is Oregon City, but there were many, many other wagon roads that crisscrossed all over the state, whether to haul mail, whether to haul freight, haul military supplies out to the forts. And this particular trail, we actually crisscross a couple times, and then the last day we travel on the 1855 Salem to Astoria military wagon road. So we'll actually be on a piece of history. Some location notes, I'm not going to go into detail because you'll learn more detail with your respective groups. You'll learn more about what you need as a rider for this area, what you need as a walker for this area, teamsters. So generally it's in the northwest corner of the Coast Range. It's about 35 miles northwest of Portland. I'll give you a rough area. It's near the town of Timber. That can be hard to look up sometimes because Oregon has a lot of timber. So you want to put in the town of Timber to look that up specifically. And as we get closer, you'll be getting maps that help with getting you there, getting you to staging, and how to get there from multiple directions. So you'll get that as we get closer. It's 5 miles off Highway 26. The last 1.75 miles is gravel. So it's actually a pretty fairly easy drive to get there, easy for your friends and family that want to come visit you on staging. Types of routes. We do 2 different types of routes or combinations. One's a linear A to B, so it's a straight line. We'll do a loop. So this year we're doing a loop route. So we're starting at staging. We will be coming back there. So where you park your car, where we start the trek, that's where we'll be coming back to. Couple things about staging. It's at Rears Camp. It is a fairly new, in terms of the last 5-8 years, it is a horse camp, beautiful horse camp. There's 48 individual stalls. These are all heavy wooden corrals. It's managed by the Department of Forestry. It's very beautiful, very low use. So they're really excited about us actually using it. So it is a hardened, regular campground, and they are pretty much going to give us the run of the place. Something that'll be a little exciting is we actually start at Rears. We'll spend 3 days out on the trail and come back to Rears for layover. So we'll be by the river. We'll have a covered picnic area. We'll have corrals. So we'll have a really, really nice place to come back for layover and have games. Route description. Overall, if anybody has ever been back there or heard anything about the Salmonberry, the Salmonberry is a location. It's also a river, but it's a location. The Salmonberry is known as being very, very rugged. So our overall terrain, it will look pretty rugged, but how we're traveling is we'll be traveling a lot of the contours, the topographical contours. So we'll have a long, winding trek. And if afterwards, all of the elevational changes and the route, they're back there on the back wall. So make sure you take a look at those. On our climbs and descents, there's a lot of flat spots and downhills or uphills. So we have a lot of breaks. We're not just completely downhill nonstop. So up and down, we have quite a few breaks. The footing, we are going to be on gravel roads. So equine folks, you're gonna need shoes on your animals. These are old road beds, so they are compacted gravel. We're not talking big pit run, big stuff. These are old road beds that have been there a very long time, so they're pretty easy to travel on. Just make sure that walkers, you've got boots, not tennis shoes, so because you're going to be on that gravel and it will, be hard on your feet. Landscape, very, very dense shrubbery. We've been to central and eastern Oregon where it's wide open spaces, very easy to find a place to put your family tarps. This, not so much. It's going to be tough getting horses off the road. Virtually you can't. That's why we're having a trail ride on our layover day to compensate for that. It is pretty thick brush, so be careful. Be careful taking your horse through there. Be careful walking through there. There's everything. There's Salal, Oregon grape. Most of it is waist high off the sides of the road. So just know that it's not anything we haven't ever encountered. We've had it on the Mackenzie. We've had it on this side of the Santiam. So just know that that's what to expect. We have a lot of, basically it's timber, very big timber. So you guys with horses and highlines, you're going to need big tree straps. Big
Big trees.
Yep. Weather. This has been kind of a little hot topic.
Or a wet one.
Yeah. Bringing the trail back on to the west side or northwest corner, back to Washington County, back to our home county, there is a risk of wet weather. But frankly, we've done really, really well with other types of weather and environmental things. It's just another thing that you work through as a family, or work through as a group. But be prepared for wet weather. Bring some rain gear, bring stuff to cover your packs, bring stuff to cover your saddles. Just be prepared and know that we may encounter some wet weather. Hopefully not. And then the ground is also damp. This area really doesn't dry out to the extremes like eastern and central Oregon do. So the ground has a lot of dampness to it. So just know that when you're setting things down or sitting in it or just use ground cloths and tarps to cover things and underneath. Other users in this area, this is a state forest, but it is also affectionately known as one of the world's largest tree farms. There is active logging. There are other forest users. We will encounter them. Fortunately, most of them will be well informed of our location and where we're at. So we will encounter road traffic. Those guys will hear us. We'll be talking to them. They have a standard CB that they're on. We'll be able to talk to them, and anybody else, we should be able to let them pass either direction. But it is a multi-use area, so just know that we will have other users. Campsites, other than Rear's Camp, are going to be pretty snug. So stick to your family plans. Know where the tarps go. Know where the horses go. We don't have a lot of space to be able to put things where we want. We really need to be looking towards our leaders of our groups and know where we're going to highline, know where the wagons go, and know where the tarps go. So we really need to make sure we stick to those. The biggest thing is it's going to be pretty tough to find highline areas for horses. So the equines are going to have first dibs on those, and we're going to know those areas ahead of time. We've already been out, a lot of us have already been out on this trail and looked at the campsites. We're going to go out there, do some work to them, clear them, and make room, and we're also going to designate where those highlines are going to go. Safety considerations, we're going to run into road traffic, we're going to have footing, and travel can be hazardous off the roadways. Just know that there's all hidden things underneath the underbrush. And standing water, this area is heavily infested with beaver and nutria. So we want to stay out of the standing water, but there's plenty of running water.
The other thing to be cautious of when you get off the trails, and even if you're on the roads, you get off on motorcycle trails or something, someplace where it's packed, you might be all right. But you get off in the woods, you got mountain beaver holes up there too. You can stick a horse leg in your stop in a minute.
I'm going to briefly go over a little bit of history. If you're interested in researching it on your own, come find me after the meeting. I'll give you the names and stuff to look up. But the area that we're going to be traveling through, obviously the 1855 Military Wagon Road is one of them, the Salem to Astoria Wagon Road. There's actually a book written on it. This is also ground zero for the Tillamook burn. So hopefully we get an ODF guest speaker out there, but if you read up on anything that's the Tillamook burn, this is pretty much ground zero. We're going to be close to one place where it actually started at one point in time. This is big timber country. There are a lot of historic photographs that were taken in this area. If you look up Kinsey, photographer, he went through before the turn of the century and took pictures of these massive trees being felled that were enormous, that 24 men were standing in the cut, and didn't even fill up the cut. So something to think about too, something to look at, fun to look at. This area also has a geologic history. We're going to try and get some stuff up there so we can do a little bit of fossil digging, but this area has a lot of well-known, good fossil beds. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention the fire extinguisher now so people keep hearing it?
We can do that later. That's a specific thing. Are there any questions? No? Thank you. It will be cool, shady. It'll still be warm, but just know that it'll probably be 10 to 15 degrees cooler than what we're normally used to in the eastern central Oregon.
Will there be copies so we can, like, I know of some people that are kind of interested in wanting to do this, and I told them I'd bring some, information or whatever, so.
Yeah,
is
there's
there
some
stuff over
on
there?
the back.
Okay,
Yeah, that tell where it's at and the dates.
okay, thank you.
Yep. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Good job, Leslie. Okey-dokey. Where are we going, Leslie?
That's a secret.
See?
All right, as mentioned before, I'm Leslie. I'm a scout for 2015. A couple years ago, I had an idea, and over the course of a couple years, that idea, much like anybody else that's been a scout, that idea has manifested into a reality. We are going to the northwest corner of Oregon, in the Coast Range, in the Tillamook State Forest. So this area is near and dear to me. My great-great-grandparents homesteaded near here. I worked for the Department of Forestry, patrolled this particular area. We've all hunted it. I've been on the back of a dirt bike when I was a little teeny, ridden the whole thing. So this area is very special to me, and it was my goal to share it because it is beautiful. It is very, very rugged. So we all know that the official end of the Oregon Trail is Oregon City, but there were many, many other wagon roads that crisscrossed all over the state, whether to haul mail, whether to haul freight, haul military supplies out to the forts. And this particular trail, we actually crisscross a couple times, and then the last day we travel on the 1855 Salem to Astoria Military Wagon Road. So actually be on a piece of history. Some location notes, I'm not going to go into detail because you'll learn more detail with your respective groups. You'll learn more about what you need as a rider for this area, what you need as a walker for this area, Teamsters. So generally it's in the northwest corner of the Coast Range. It's about 35 miles northwest of Portland. I'll give you a rough area. It's near the town of Timber. That can be hard to look up sometimes because Oregon has a lot of timber. So you want to put in the town of Timber to look that up specifically. And as we get closer, you'll be getting maps that help with getting you there, getting you to staging, and how to get there from multiple directions. So you'll get that as we get closer. It's 5 miles off Highway 26. The last 1.75 miles is gravel. So it's actually a pretty fairly easy drive to get there, easy for your friends and family that want to come visit you on staging. Types of routes. We do 2 different types of routes or combinations. One's a linear A to B, so it's a straight line. We'll do a loop. So this year we're doing a loop route. So we're starting at staging. We will be coming back there. So where you park your car, where we start the trek, that's where we'll be coming back to. Couple things about staging. It's at Rears Camp. It is a fairly new, in terms of the last 5-8 years, it is a horse camp, beautiful horse camp. There's 48 individual stalls. These are all heavy wooden corrals. It's managed by the Department of Forestry. It's very beautiful, very low use. So they're really excited about us actually using it. So it is a hardened, regular campground, and they are pretty much going to give us the run of the place. Something that'll be a little exciting is we actually start at Rears. We'll spend 3 days out on the trail and come back to Rears for layover. So we'll be by the river. We'll have a covered picnic area. We'll have corrals. So we'll have a really, really nice place to come back for layover and have games. Route description. Overall, if anybody has ever been back there or heard anything about the Salmonberry is a location. It's also a river, but it's a location. The Salmonberry is known as being very, very rugged. So our overall terrain, it will look pretty rugged, but how we're traveling is we'll be traveling a lot of the contours, the topographical contours. So we'll have a long, winding trek. And if afterwards, all of the elevational changes and the route, they're back there on the back wall. So make sure you take a look at those. On our climbs and descents, there's a lot of flat spots and downhills or uphills. So we have a lot of breaks. We're not just completely downhill nonstop. So up and down, we have quite a few breaks. The footing, we are going to be on gravel roads. So equine folks, you're gonna need shoes on your animals. These are old road beds. So they are compacted gravel. We're not talking big pit run, big stuff. These are old road beds that have been there a very long time. So they're pretty easy to travel on. Just make sure that walkers, you've got boots, not tennis shoes. So, because you're going to be on that gravel, and it will, be hard on your feet. Landscape, very, very dense shrubbery. We've been to Central and Eastern Oregon, where it's wide open spaces, very easy to find a place to put your family tarps. This, not so much. It's going to be tough getting horses off the road. Virtually, you can't. That's why we're having a trail ride on our layover day to compensate for that. It is pretty thick brush, so be careful. Be careful taking your horse through there. Be careful walking through there. There's everything. There's Salal, Oregon grape. Most of it is waist high off the sides of the road. So just know that it's not anything we haven't ever encountered. We've had it on the Mackenzie. We've had it on this side of the Santiam. So just know that that's what to expect. We have a lot of, basically it's timber. Very big timber. So you guys with horses and high lines, you're gonna need big tree straps. Big trees. Yep. Weather. This has been kind of a little hot topic.
Or a wet one.
Yeah. Bringing the trail back on to the west side or northwest corner, back to Washington County, back to our home county, there is a risk of wet weather. But frankly, we've done really, really well with other types of weather and environmental things. It's just another thing that you work through as a family, we work through as a group. But be prepared for wet weather. Bring some rain gear, bring stuff to cover your packs, bring stuff to cover your saddles. Just be prepared and know that we may encounter some wet weather. Hopefully not. And then the ground is also damp. This area really doesn't dry out to the extremes like eastern and central Oregon do. So the ground has a lot of dampness to it. So just know that when you're setting things down or sitting in it, or you know, just use ground cloths and tarps to cover things and underneath. Other users in this area, this is a state forest, but it is also affectionately known as one of the world's largest tree farms. There is active logging. There are other forest users. We will encounter them. Fortunately, most of them will be well informed of our location and where we're at. So we will encounter road traffic. Those guys will hear us. We'll be talking to them. They have a standard CB that they're on. We'll be able to talk to them, and anybody else, we should be able to let them pass either direction. But it is a multi-use area, so just know that we will have other users. Campsites, other than Brewer's Camp, are going to be pretty snug. So stick to your family plans. Know where the tarps go, know where the horses go. We don't have a lot of space to be able to put things where we want. We really need to be looking towards our leaders of our groups and know where we're going to highline, know where the wagons go, and know where the tarps go. So we really need to make sure we stick to those. The biggest thing is it's going to be pretty tough to find highline areas for horses. So the equines are going to have first dibs on those, and we're going to know those areas ahead of time. We've already been out, a lot of us have already been out on this trail and looked at the campsites. We're going to go out there, do some work to them, clear them, and make room, and we're also going to designate where those highlines are going to go. Safety considerations, we're going to run into road traffic, we're going to have footing, and travel can be hazardous off the roadways. Just know that there's all hidden things underneath the underbrush. And standing water, this area is heavily infested with beaver and nutria, so we want to stay out of the standing water, but there's plenty of running water.
The other thing to be cautious of when you get off the trails, and even if you're on the roads, you get off on motorcycle trails or something, someplace where it's packed, you might be all right. But you get off in the woods, you got mountain beaver holes up there too. You can stick a horse leg in your stop in a minute.
I'm going to briefly go over a little bit of history. If you're interested in researching it on your own, come find me after the meeting. I'll give you the names and stuff to look up. But the area that we're going to be traveling through, obviously the 1855 Military Wagon Road is one of them, the Salem to Astoria Wagon Road. There's actually a book written on it. This is also ground zero for the Tillamook Burn. So hopefully we get an ODF guest speaker out there, but if you read up on anything that's the Tillamook Burn, this is pretty much ground zero. We're going to be close to one place where it actually started at one point in time. This is big timber country. There are a lot of historic photographs that were taken in this area. If you look up Kinsey, photographer, he went through before the turn of the century and took pictures of these massive trees being felled that were enormous, that 24 men were standing in the cut, and didn't even fill up the cut. So something to think about too, something to look at, fun to look at. This area also has a geologic history. We're going to try and get some stuff up there so we can do a little bit of fossil digging, but this area has a lot of well-known, good fossil beds. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention the fire extinguisher now so people keep hearing it?
We can do that later. That's a specific thing. Are there any questions? None? Thank you. It will be cool, shady. It'll still be warm, but just know that it'll probably be 10 to 15 degrees cooler than what we're normally used to in the eastern central Oregon.
Will there be copies so we can, like, I know of some people that are kind of interested in wanting to do this, and I told them I'd bring some, information or whatever, so.
Yeah,
is
there's
there
some
stuff over
on
there?
the back.
Okay.
Yeah, that tell where it's at and the dates.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Good job,
Price for going on trek is $225. I take cash. Oh, and money orders and checks.
Right now?
No, not right now.
I'm not-
And we have until the May meeting to get funds in. And for all new members, who are folks that didn't go this previous year, for new folks, I have a packet of paperwork so you can have your background check done and the educational part. Everybody that's been previously, we have the one form to fill out, and I have forms for you. Everybody has to fill out paperwork whether you win or not, but the background checks will be for the new folks. It's $225, cash, check, money orders. I'm good with all that kind of stuff. And I've got a ton of paperwork over here. I will get you everything that you need, and you can give it back to me as soon as possible, and we'll get everybody going.
What's the horse feed, Jerry?
35.
Same price.
Nothing's changed on that.
Sure that you.
It's for, if you think about what it costs to do a summer camp with other groups, anywhere, $225 to go out on camp for 8 days, and the way I'll feed you, you'll be.
What's the incentive for paying May, the due date? Didn't you-
I believe it's the 17th if
It looks
there's
like
a-
it's the 16th.
There's, yeah, okay, so there's an incentive.
If
though,
you don't, there is a disincentive.
there's a distance.
Well-
If you're late after the 16th, there's a
Yeah,
$25
okay.
$25
Yeah, okay, depends on how you look at
The
it.
goal with getting the money in time, there's a couple things with getting the money into. One is we need to know the head count so I can buy food. That's
Yeah.
that's
Important, big
important.
incentive.
You gotta buy food, so we need to know what the head count's gonna be before we go out. And that goes to buying the hay, buying the feed, getting the fuel, getting all that stuff ready to go. We've averaged anywhere from 65 to 80 people going, so we wanna make sure that we got everybody set up.
My incentive, the thing that I was talking about was,
Something new is included with.
Oh, the
fee?
incentive?
yeah, I'm
That
no
This, for this year, the first year that we've done this, everybody will be getting T-shirts with 4-H on the front, and there's a big old "I survived" on the back, and it's a salmonberry color too.
Yep.
Yep. And we got the hats this year. I don't have them on display, but the hats are blue with a salmonberry logo.
Will be sharp.
Pretty sharp.
It'll be sharp.
So everybody will get T-shirts, and for every year we have apparel that you can purchase. Everybody has some different things going around in the room. We work with Max's Inc., which is located right here in Hillsborough. I'll have an order form at the next meeting. You can get T-shirts, jackets, hats, any additional stuff that you like to purchase, and you want to be wagon trainer eyes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Jerry, if you pay for wagon train, do you also have to pay for tune-up?
No, sir.
No, sir. So, if we have our tune-up track, which is kind of the month prior to the trip, where we kind of get everybody together and do a weekend at a local location and kind of dry run and make sure everything's working good. If you're paid participant for the trek, you have no additional cost for tune-up. Should you elect to just maybe audit us and check us out and not do the full trip, then there'll be a fee for just attending tune-up only.
$25,
$25.
and I will still feed you.
And he will still feed you.
Good food.
So, just point of clarification.
And potluck.
Yes. And Jerry, can we wait forever on paperwork?
Oh my goodness. Especially with the background checks, we need to be able, we're part of OSU, right? Oregon State University. And they require certain paperwork for adults, certain paperwork for youth. And for adults, there's no medical paperwork, but for the youth, there are. And that, once we get that paperwork, that gets turned over to OSU. They do their required checks on backgrounds, make sure everybody's good to go. Once that's all done, everybody's basically signed up. You're an adult volunteer or you're a youth member of 4-H. That's what makes you a member. Come to the meeting, sign that paperwork, you're in. You're in the club.
Right on. Family.
Yeah.
Good.
Questions?
Nobody has questions about paperwork? Unbelievable.
Easy peasy.
So before you leave tonight, yes ma'am.
Is the paperwork paperwork that you're talking about for the adult volunteer, the same paperwork that 4-H leaders have to fill out, or is it,
Yes, it is. If you're a 4-H leader,
I mean,
in a-
I'm the 4-H leader, but my daughter, this is my granddaughter, but if my daughter decides to go, is it the same
yes.
paperwork?
No, for the youth, we actually have a one that actually literally says 4-H wagon train.
For the youth, but
Yes.
not for like an adult?
No.
I think her daughter, I think what she's saying is her daughter is an adult.
My daughter's an adult, my granddaughter here is the one that,
Oh.
You're registered if you're in.
If you're already registered in 4-H, you're good to go.
I
Only thing
am.
you will need is to give me wagon train, fill out wagon train paperwork. So I have put your name in our roster, and then we have all your information. But if you're already signed up, not a problem.
But you're already, yeah, you're already.
Good to go. Which county are you from?
Clackamas.
Oh,
And she's
Clackamas.
already a registered 4-H
Welcome.
member.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Anything else for Jerry?
What's that, Tom?
Don't forget, see Jerry, get paperwork.